What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning into the channel. I'm Kevin Duffy, and you found Duffy Geeks Out. I haven't done a review in a while. I haven't done anything on this channel in a while, and that is because I went on vacation in mid-March to Disney World with my family. It was awesome. But we got back, and I could not get out of vacation mode. I was very lazy for days. I just sat around watching TV or whatnot, and I couldn't bring myself to getting back into the content that I want to deliver on this channel. But it did give me a little bit of a break, a little bit of time to kind of think about how I want to handle this channel moving forward. And I've come up with an idea. Rather than be reactionary to all the content that drops week to week, I'm going to kind of retool my channel and have it be more of a couple times a week. I will do a show where I will discuss multiple topics and kind of just run with it that way. It'll be a little bit more long format than my previous videos have been, but I think ultimately it will lead me to be doing better content, and probably I'll be able to have a lot more fun with it and definitely be able to keep up with it a lot better if I do it this way. So I'm going to start that tonight with the first episode of what I'm calling Geekly News. And yes, the pun is very intended. So the first topic today for Geekly News, I'm going to pick a handful of topics. I have 3 set aside tonight that I'm going to dive into, and a 4th one that I've just decided to throw in at the last second. So first up, the not-so-Super Mario movie critic reviews. This movie, the Super Mario movie, obviously just came out, I believe, today. Actually, is the first day that general audiences can see it. It is currently sitting at 58% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 95% audience score. So a little disconnect there. And that's not uncommon. A lot of movies will have disconnects there. Critics tend to judge things a little harsher than a general audience would. For me personally, I find a lot of films that I enjoy tend to fall somewhere in the middle between a score that's as separated like as that is, you know? And 58% is actually not that terrible. A lot of animated movies get bashed if they're not, you know, like top-of-the-line Pixar or Disney flicks. And video game movies in general are typically trash. Obviously, The Last of Us was really good. Detective Pikachu was good. The Sonic movies have been pretty good, but more often than not, they are trash. So 58% is actually not terrible, and the audience rating of 95% is obviously really good. Both tend to need to be taken with a grain of salt, in my opinion, because again, your taste might not align with the critics, and they might not align with the audiences. I mean, the audiences gave the first Transformers movie 85% or something like that, and that Michael Bay Transformers movie is pretty terrible. I mean, I liked it at the time because I'm a huge Transformers fan, but it doesn't sit well. It's not good. It's not good. Bumblebee was better. The 1986 animated one's better. But let's get back onto Mario here. So what are the critics saying about this? Well, I'm not going to dive into all the critic reviews, but I will give you the summary that Rotten Tomatoes has released, and I'm going to read it here because I don't have it memorized. While nowhere near as fun as turtle tipping your way to 128 lives, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is a colorful, albeit thinly plotted animated adventure that has, ready for this, as many Nintendo-dos as Nintendo-don'ts. Gotta love the wordplay there. So it sounds like there's something in this movie that's worthwhile, while maybe not hitting all the points that at least the critics wanted it to. I'm going to be seeing this movie on Saturday with my kids and my wife. We're probably going to love it. I love Mario. My kids love Mario. So I can't imagine this movie won't work for me, but it's not hitting with the critics is not a surprise. I feel like unless this movie was like Pixar level good, you know, Up, Coco, any of the Disney flicks, whatever you got there, I feel like a lot of critics judge animated movies pretty harshly, and they tend to judge video game movies even harsher. So it's really no surprise there. But yeah, I imagine for me, this movie will work. I know my kids are going to love it. And I imagine it'll fall somewhere in like 72% or something like that for my personal view. And I'm sure most audiences will leave happy. So that's really all you can ask from it. What does it mean for the movie's box office? I have not looked into what the preliminary sales are for this movie, but I imagine it's going to kill this weekend. So I'm sure even that 58% isn't going to do much damage to this movie. A lot of people love Mario. A lot of people love animated movies. It's really the biggest kids movie that's been released this year. So I think this is going to be absolutely fine this weekend. I think it'll make a killing, and I'm sure we will see other Nintendo content in the theaters really soon. So, moving on to topic number 2. Harry Potter and the Curse of HBO Max. No, that's obviously sounds worse than it is. HBO has been fishing around the idea, apparently, of rebooting the Harry Potter franchise and releasing it as a series on HBO where they would do one book per season. I love Harry Potter. I love the books. I love the Wizarding World. I love the theme parks. I love the movies. I'm a Harry Potter fan. I love it. So any new content in the Harry Potter world, I am on board with. I kind of personally would have liked them to see them bring back the original cast and expand the series moving forward with new content. Obviously, J.K. Rowling has only written that the Cursed Child, or the play that they did, as far as new content went after that, and that story was only okay. I didn't love it, but I really was thinking they would eventually circle back around to Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, and bring them back on for more Harry Potter movies with the original cast. That's kind of what I thought they would eventually get to, and maybe they will. I mean, they're still young. Technically, they could pick up 10 years from now, and those guys would be perfect age to be adult wizards. So, I don't know. Maybe they still will do that, but rebooting is not something I ever really thought about. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the series, and I know that the movies, they gloss over a lot of stuff, and they leave out a lot of content that you don't get in the books. So it makes sense to kind of flush it out with new casted actors, and kind of retell these stories in their full ability. But I don't know. I kind of love the Harry Potter movies, so I'm a little torn on this. As much as I am a fan of the Wizarding World and everything Harry Potter related, I don't want them to. I'm sure that they won't suck. Like HBO has a great track record with it, with doing series, and I'm sure the content would be great. And I'm sure the cast that the people they would hire to play these characters would be great and perfect. But I'm also a huge fan of the original cast and what they did in the movies. So I really am torn as to how I feel about it. Anyways, this is just an in development story. So when concrete news drops that they have officially decided to move forward with, the Harry Potter series, I will give you my thoughts on it. And again, we're years away from this thing happening, but Zaslav said he wants to make sure his prize IPs are being used appropriately and flushed out for the best means possible for HBO and for Warner Brothers. So it makes sense to go back to Harry Potter. The Fantastic Beasts movies haven't done that great. They brought in some money, but critically they haven't been that great. And I personally only really like the first one. So I don't know. That franchise was never really going to save or continue Harry Potter the way that I think they thought it was. So maybe the series would be great, and I do want to see the stories fully fleshed out. So yeah, I'm certainly on the fence about this one. Moving on to topic number 3, and that's going to be Mandalorian Season 3. Now, I gave a reaction to the first episode of The Mandalorian Season 3, and I really dug that episode, and so far this season has really not disappointed me. I have loved everything with Bo-Katan and Mando and the Culvert and everything going on with the Mandalorians as a culture in this season. I think it's fucking awesome. It's truly been some of the best Star Wars that I've seen in years. And that's always the case with The Mandalorian for me. But holy shit. That episode 5, man, with them deciding that they were going to go to war with the pirates, I don't think I never just ever. This is crazy because I know there's more content coming out, but I don't think I ever need to see anything else in Star Wars again. Just keep giving me this group of Mandalorians, fighting for their land, fighting for the people of the Outer Rim against space pirates and just Imperial offshoots, because that is awesome. It was so good, and I love the brother. They're like the space. They're like the Spartans of space, and I don't mean the fucking Halo people. I mean like they're like the 300 Spartans of space. They come together and they have like a plan, and they're fucking badass, and they're armored up. And I really am digging the Mandalorian this season. Not that I have ever disliked the Mandalorian, but more than I thought I would. I am so on board with where the show is going, and man, just keep giving me quality Star Wars like this, people. That's all I need. Admittedly, I have not seen the episode that just dropped today. I saw a still that showed me that Jack Black was in it, so that's a fun surprise that I get to look forward to later. But man, I am really digging Mando so far. I will give you guys probably another update the next time I do one of these videos, and maybe touch base on episode 6. But I guess it really depends how I feel about it. So that's going to do it for the originally decided topics that I have, but I have one more that I want to talk about. It's a bit of a deep dive geek thing, and I don't know if you guys can see my background here, but I have a few sparse action figures and stuff like that, but I have a lone book right there, and I want to talk about this because for a while, my favorite book series has been the Dresden Files. Now, if you guys don't know what the Dresden Files are, it is a long-running novel series written by Jim Butcher, and it is about, and I'll just give you the there's no way to even summarize it really, but I'll try my best. It is about a wizard in Chicago, modern day. I mean, there's like 17 books in this series, so it's not quite modern day if you jump into the first one, but it gets there. About a wizard in Chicago who fights supernatural creatures in like almost a detective noir style. He's a private investigator, and he helps the Chicago PD out. It has a great cast of characters, and your main character, Harry Dresden, is probably the coolest hero being written about today. I don't know how many people know about this series out there. I mean, I'm a fan in a fan group in Facebook, multiple fan groups in Facebook. So there's a shitload of us that are always talking about it. But the Dresden Files is absolutely a book series I think everybody should go check out. This is the first book in the series. This is Stormfront. It is the only one I have in book form because after I read this, I was turned on to the Audible series, which is narrated by James Marsters, who, if you guys know James Marsters, he is an actor he was Spike in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was in P.S. I Love You. He was Piccolo in Dragon Ball Evolution, but don't hold that one against him. He's a great actor. He was in that Marvel series, the Runaways, I think. I never watched that show, but I heard he was in that. Anyways, he narrates all the characters. He does all the narrations for this book, so multiple characters. Harry, obviously. And he does a fucking amazing job. I mean, the best narrator I've ever seen in a book series, and I listen to a shitload of Audible books. I probably have listened to over 250 Audible books since I got into Audible a few years back. And this series is so good. It does this incredible job of hitting you with lighthearted moments and fun moments, all while like dark, serious crime and investigations go on. And this character of Harry Dresden, he just walks this line of, I need to protect the people of Chicago, and that is all that matters. And if you get in the way of my duties protecting these people, I'm gonna fucking drop you. And he is awesome, and he's so funny, and all the characters, the side characters that come in and expand this world, it is fantastic. And Jim Butcher does a great job writing this out. This story has gone on for 17 books. I think it might be 18 books. I've listened to them like 3 or 4 times. I should know the number by now, but I absolutely love this series. And I think if anyone out there is looking for a great, fantasy action series or a good crime series too, because like I said, every single book just about has a mystery in it that it needs to be solved, and every one of them is cool. All the creatures are cool. All of the different wizards you run into in this world are cool, man. It is the fucking best. It is my favorite series ever, and I actually want to do a deep dive into each of these books with a couple of friends of mine who are also big Dresden heads now, and I might get that going sometime down the line here. I've got to touch base with them, see if they want to do it. But I strongly recommend you guys go out and you check out Stormfront. And I recommend doing the Audible version. I don't know if everybody out there is an Audible junkie like I am, but I highly recommend it. It is an incredible experience. It is so well done. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this edition of Geekly News. Do me a huge favor. Click that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you thought about any of the topics we talked about today. And honestly, most importantly, let me know if you know what the Dresden Files are and what your favorite book in the series is if you have read them. That's going to do it for me here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you later.